Real quick before we jump into the video, guys, for the rest of this year I'm going to be on a fundraising campaign to raise a minimum of £1,000 for the Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital. For more information on the charity and what it does, and for the donation links, please look in the description below. And thank you all for your continued support. Enjoy the show. What's going on, guys? Rizombie teacher in the house, and this is going to be a bit of an interesting video. This is, of course, the RBL Season 3 week number 1, and your Royal Bournemouth Rizombies are taking on the Tampa Toxtricities and Coach Saiyan Bush Sr. Now, this series has actually happened, but unfortunately my video corrupted, the audio messed up and everything like that. So we are having to record this as a postcom, and as you can also see on the screen, there is no face cam because I am still recovering from my COVID shot. But I figured I would re-record this and take you through everything we've got. But before we get into the actual games itself, I want to give you a quick rundown of the 6 Pokemon I brought, which you can see on the screen right now. Whimsicott is standard focus / support set, running Tailwind and Moonblast as my main moves, but it also has Fake Tears and Charm. Charm, of course, crippling physical attackers, Fake Tears lowering special defense. Garchomp is protect 3 attacks with Rock Slide, Stomping Tantrum, and Dragon Claw, as that hits the majority of his team. Inteleon is Scope Lens and Sniper, which is pretty nice, rocking Blizzard. Snipe Shot, I forget the last 2 moves, I should actually remember this. But yeah, it was 3 attacks and protect, kind of similar to Garchomp. Celesteela rocking weakness policy. This is basically need to deal with things like Regieleki if I can, and this benefits a lot from the Fake Tears from Whimsicott, as it was Meteor Beam, Air Slash, and Flash Cannon, along with Leech Seed over protect. Leech Seed just allows me to win the Star 1v1s against Landorus. As Manectric was Choice Scarf this week, running Volt Switch as a way to proc the potential policy as well as absorb Regieleki's electric moves. I also had Snarl, Flamethrower, and Electro Ball, as it was Scarfed. And then we had Torcat, which was Mixed Bulky, Intimidate, with Fake Out, Parting Shot, Will-O-Wisp, and Flare Blitz. And you can see the team I thought he would bring at the bottom. We'll actually roll through what actually happened right now, so you guys can see it all. But we'll talk you through. I figured he might try to bring Manual Sun, or like actual Drought, but he actually doesn't. You can actually see he opts to bring the Fungus over the Ninetales. That was the only change. Otherwise, we got his team pretty much exactly correct. And it puts me in a bit of an awkward position here, because my first thought is, does he lead like Mienshao plus something? Because obviously Mienshao is immune to Fake Out because of Inner Focus, but it also gets Fake Out itself, which could be interesting. Could definitely run it in order to set up just for Regieleki to do some damage. So I was a little bit concerned about that at first. Also, Sableye being there is a problem. Sableye with Prankster, and I don't have a way to stop it because I don't have a Dark type on my team. Definitely a problem. I kind of figured it would be like a Quash style set looking at this comp, given the fact that I brought some very fast Pokemon. He did not bring as fast a team, so I kind of knew Quash was coming. So I had a choice as to what I wanted to go for here. Did I want to try to go for Steeler as my carry the first game? It depended on whether Regieleki was going to come or not, but I actually opted for my more safer option, which is Whimsicott and Garchomp. These do really, really well against his team. Pretty much I can hit everything really well, and I kind of made a mistake with my game 1 picking Manectric here. I honestly should have just gone Steeler in general, but I didn't go for it. I went with Inteleon just because I wanted to see if I could actually out-pressure his team. I was running out of time as well to pick this up, but nonetheless, we tried an interesting strategy here for game 1. And of course, Saiyan is a fantastic battler. His team is very, very scary, so there's not too much there. You can see I changed the layout, so now we have a Fungus. So it's pretty tough. He actually led the Sableye and the Lando, which didn't surprise me too much in the long run. This was pretty much one of his better answers to Whimsicott, of course, because, of course, just Fake Out into Max Airstream into Whimsicott makes a lot of sense. The Garchomp getting intimidated really did suck. This is kind of the downside of me leading the Garchomp. But I actually didn't think this was too bad for us anyway. I did actually make a bit of a risky play here. I actually could have just easily switched the Whimsicott out, but because I didn't bring Torcat this game, I brought Manectric instead. I actually did not necessarily have and out here to just necessarily switch in. And of course my Garchomp is intimidated as well, which does not help matters, and the Landorus is at still full power. But on the off chance that he actually didn't fake out the Whimsicott, because of course I have run a Jack button before, you can see I'm still debating if I wanted to bring Inteleon here, but I didn't really want Inteleon taking a fake out plus a max Airstream, because it would probably one-shot it. So I ended up staying in anyway. Honestly, this was a very aggressive play. If he just faked out and max Airstream turn 1, I would have lost my Whimsicott. But we do actually protect Garchomp here. This was mostly in case he opted to Will-O-Wisp instead of fake out my Whimsicott. He honestly didn't have a reason not to fake out here, but we went for it anyway. Obviously, if we did get this Tailwind off, it would have been phenomenal, but he actually U-turned into the Garchomp slot, which was very interesting. This made me think he was Scarfed, because I stupidly forgot that I protected this turn, so that was my own fault. And at this point, it was kind of an interesting option here. He did actually opt to do what I expected him to do turn 1, which is coming right up. I do go for the Rock Slide here. In hindsight, I would have liked to have Dragon Clawed the Sableye, or the Lando, to be fair, but I ended up not going for that. But at this point, it's an interesting decision for him. Does he actually just go to U-turn out again, or does he actually just straight up max? Because my initial thought here is that he's Scarfed. Mostly because that U-turn kind of seemed a little strange to me. Like, why would you stay in a U-turn? But at the same time, I kind of didn't really think about it. I was very much ill playing this game, so I'm pretty glad I'm actually post-commentating this. Not that you guys can really tell the difference unless I told you. But yeah, so we do see the max here. Not too surprised. Honestly, the max Airstream definitely seemed like it was coming. But the thing with him doing this now is, unless he actually quashes my Whimsicott, which doesn't make any sense, I actually get the Tailwind off anyway. But he does opt to Helping Hand, so he shows me 2 of his moves. So he goes Fake Out and Helping Hand. I suspected Quash was still here, regardless. I did debate on just firing a Moonblast into the Sableye, but I didn't think it was worth it. Actually, kind of feel like I should have done that, but we do see the Airstream. But with us having Tailwind up for this, this doesn't seem that bad for us. Now Garchomp outspeeds a potential Regieleki that's in, and we are definitely still faster than his Landorus, because at +2, we are considerably faster than a +1 non-Scarfed Landorus. And now here's where I messed up. This is where I feel like I lost this game. I do bring Inteleon out, which is absolutely a perfectly fine decision, but I made a misplay here, and or it was this turn or the next turn that I made the misplay. I think maxing here is fine for me. Obviously, I'm not super threatened by the Sableye, if I'm being honest. We've seen Fake Out, we've seen Helping Hand, but at this point, the Landorus can't kill me. But yeah, this was the turn I misplayed. This was not the correct max move for me here. Obviously, there is a reason why this turned out to be wrong. I didn't think about this at the time, but we do max our Inteleon, which made a lot of sense at this point. I feel like Inteleon had the advantage, because even though the Lando actually max Airstreamed, we are under Tailwind and we are considerably faster. So we are ahead here. Obviously, still factoring in the potential Quash, which, as you can see, does happen. So we know he has Quash now. We've seen Fake Out, Helping Hand, and Quash. Not too surprised to see any of it. We do see the Max Quake come out here, which is perfectly fine. This won't kill me, as you can see. It does a lot, though, which is a risk. This is the problem with Inteleon, Inteleon is very, very frail. But this was a misplay. I should have gone for Max Hailstorm here. This actually would have had a chance to kill. But I didn't. I went for the Hydro Snipe, and you see it does very little after the Spadef boost. Which put me in a really awkward position. Now, I kind of expected him to go for another Airstream. You can see I'm actually debating what I want to do here. And I do actually go for this play, I think, in the end. I don't remember if I did actually click this. I feel like I remembered max guarding instead. Yeah, I did go for the guard. Here is where I played too passive, in my opinion. But I think at the end of the day, it was kind of an interesting in play here. But had I a Hailstorm last turn, the Landorus would have had a chance to have been killed. I don't think it's a guaranteed kill though, unless I do actually land the crit from the scope lens. But yeah, we didn't land it obviously on the last turn. So we do guard here. This is largely to stall out his last turn of max. That was the intention. And then we see the final move of the Sableye, which is Sunny Day, which actually makes things very, very scary for us. Because I have a water type out that's taking half damage. We do get the Dragon Claw into the Sableye. This is actually a good idea for me because at -1 attack, you can see we're doing about 40%, which is a lot. And you do see the Airstream does not kill me, which is good. So we're actually okay with this. But this is a +2 Landorus now. We are still under Tailwind, if I remember correctly, so Inteleon is still faster. Obviously Quash is kind of the answer to this, but this is where I finally realized I should have Hailstormed, which obviously is 2 turns too late. I should have done it 2 turns ago. This was my fault, and we do actually try to double into the Landorus here, just to see what happens here. But the next play shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone here, I don't think. But yeah, this was a pretty interesting game 1. I definitely did not pick the right 4. I think I picked 3 of the right mons, potentially. But Manectric was only good if Regieleki was on the back. Or if he led Regieleki. Well, I don't think he brought Regieleki in game 1. I think he brought Charizard and something else. Mienshao, I think. But we'll find out soon. So he does Quash me again. Not too surprised to see that. And he actually does show the Earthquake, I believe, this turn. We do go for the Dragon Claw. Actually does a meaningful amount of damage, but the Intimidate meant that we didn't kill. And he does go for the Earthquake, and we do get the double kill. He did also kill his own Sableye, though. Which may not have been worth it, but it worked out for him in the end. But we will happily take a free kill. That Sableye is actually a really big problem, and of course, as you can see here, we lose our Tailwind. But we only have Manectric left, which obviously is not great, but we don't have a choice but to go for it. And the big problem here is that I cannot go for any electric moves because I am Scarfed, so I can't lock myself in. We do see the Mienshao. Unsurprising to see that. I believe he fakes me out, and then I think he misplays here. If I remember right, because I think he actually clicked Rock Slide here. If I remember right. Yeah, he clicked Rock Slide here. If he Earthquaked here, he would have just killed me. I don't know why he didn't. I guess he wasn't too convinced on the damage roll. But yeah, that Earthquake would absolutely have killed me. I don't know if it would have killed his Mienshao as well. I don't know if he was just playing for differential. But at this point, Manectric gets a kill because Flamethrower and Sun is pretty nice. But obviously, that is not enough to get us back into the game, as the close combat is just going to knock us out. So, that is game 1 down. Pretty good game for Saiyan, of course. It definitely helps. But we are going to move into game 2. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because game 2 has a lot of different potential options here. As you can see, I think leading the same for me is actually fine, but I think I realized that Inteleon wasn't the bring, and I don't think Manectric really was that great for me either. So I was debating between the two. Obviously, if he did bring out Regieleki, Manectric does actually have value, but given how much he played around the Landorus in the last game, and then the Mienshao came in, I switched it up. I think this was definitely the correct play to move it up. I was still really puzzled over the two of these. I did really like Manectric as an option, but we did end up going for the Torracat this time. The Intimidate is actually really valuable against Landorus, because Landorus has a good attack stat, but after Intimidate, its damage feels really, really mediocre. So, realizing that very quickly, obviously, we make the switch up. We do bring Torracat instead of Manectric, and we bring Stealer instead of Inteleon. But he leads the same thing, which I was very surprised to see him do this, because I thought he might have been a little scared of the Inteleon lead, because I could have just Hailstormed turn 1. But he didn't go for it. Once again, Garchomp kind of gets intimidated, because I semi-expected some adaptation, so I was kind of like, maybe he doesn't lead Lando this time, but obviously he does. Now, this time I make the correct play. Because I brought Torracat this time, I can just freely switch Whimsicott out, preserve the Focus Sash, and then I still have the choice here. Do I go for the Dynamax here, or do I commit my max to Stealer? And this was kind of a difficult choice, because obviously Garchomp is kind of good, but it's not that great into Landorus. Because unfortunately Garchomp doesn't really get too much that hits it, so... but I was debating on chipping down the Sableye, because Sableye obviously has a lot of options, which could be a problematic. Ignature. This should have been Scratching Bush, by the way, but the name was too long. I didn't realize that when I put it in when I was making these months. But we do see the Intimidate come out, and this play actually caught me a little unawares to see him max turn 1. This was a pretty aggressive early max, but I can see why he did it. He wanted the extra speed advantage very much straight away, because obviously Fake Out was almost inevitably going to go into Whimsicott there. And I kind of knew that, so I played around it by just switching Torracat out instead. As you can do see the Fake Out does negligible damage, of course. We do see this Dragon Claw pop off. We are -1 attack, but you can see how much damage it's doing. It's actually doing a decent amount of damage. And we do see this Airstream do about 40%, which isn't too bad. Obviously that means we do take another one, because we do of course know that this Sableye actually has no more attacking moves after it uses Fake Out. All it uses are support moves. And here is where I misplayed. This was a bit greedy on my end, thinking that I was going to live the hit, because I did actually remember that this Sableye had Helping Hand, but for some reason I didn't consider him going into my Torracat here. I was debating on whether I could get away with switching Whimsicott in, but I felt like actually I was going to go for the burn instead, which is a very greedy play. This should not have happened. So this was my fault. I misplayed this. I think switching out into Whimsicott was actually the better option, because even if you max Airstreams into my Whimsicott slot, it never kills me. Because I have Focus Sash regardless. So I misplayed this. I got pretty greedy, because I miscalculated the Helping Hand boost damage. So as we do see, he does go into the Torracat, and he knocks me out. Now this is a mistake on my part. I should have just straight up switched out. And just gone into Whimsicott, because I would have guaranteed live the hit, and then of course I can just set up the Tailwind, which would put me in a better stead, as well as keeping Torracat for an additional Intimidate later on. We do get a Dragon Claw down. We are continuing to beat down this Sableye. That being said though, that's 2 turns of max committed already, and we still haven't maxed yet. So bringing Stealer out now made a lot of sense to me, because this Landorus has only showed like U-turn, a flying move, which is almost inevitably fly on Lando, and that's pretty much it. He hasn't really showed anything else, so no max Knuckle, no max Wormwind. I think this thing gets outraged, I could be wrong. But here I'm in a difficult spot. Like, do I want the damage, do I want the defense boost, like, how do I want to play this? Because I was debating on charging up a Meteor Beam here at first, but I think I wanted the defense boost a little bit, because I wanted to see what else was in the bag. And then here I just take out the Sableye, or at least that was my intention. I think he actually switched the Sableye out here, if I remember right, to reset the Fake Out. I could be wrong. But losing Torracat was not the smartest decision for me here, for sure. I think I definitely should have switched into Whimsicott here, but I think saving it wasn't the worst for me. I almost went for Rock Slide, and I kind of wish I did now, because I probably would have OHKO'd this Charizard. But we obviously don't, because there was no way for us to know that that was a Charizard in the back. Hindsight being 2020, of course, but it's all good either way. Alright, but we do commit our max, and we are going to max our Stealer. This basically covers for any potential Regieleki switching. Essentially, because with this amount of health, no Regieleki spread basically one-shots me, because we are max HP. As we do see the Flutterby, unsurprising, but he actually went into the Garchomp here, which I was a little surprised to see that at first, but I can understand why he did that now, because it's going to do next to nothing to Stealer. But the special attack drops really do hurt. We do get the Dragon Claw off here. We actually do meaningful damage. That's an intimidated Garchomp, by the way. Just saying. We do get a Still Swing off. It does a little bit of chip. Doesn't do too much, but we don't need it to do a lot here. We just want the defense boosts. This basically covers for Mienshao coming in as well. Obviously the Sableye has Fake Out, which isn't going to do much to either of us here. But we do proceed to play this out a little bit wonky. We do go for the Rockfall on the Zard. And I think we protected here, right? Did I play this really passively? I think I did. Yeah, I played this really passively. In hindsight, I would have liked to have Dragon Clawed here, or gone for the Rock Slide, because it would have covered for this play, the protect. But alongside this as well, we do see the U-turn come out into the protect, which is kind of unfortunate because I could have got rough skim damage there, which would have been nice. But at the same time, I wanted to keep that Landorus on the field. So as you can see through the protect, the Charizard does live, but we do also see from this that this is not a Charity Berry Charizard, which means that a Rock move basically can OHKO this thing, almost guaranteed. So here is another mistake on my end. I actually misclicked here. Even though I took a bit of time here, I actually meant to Airstream the Charizard, and then Rock Slide. This was my intended play. I ended up messing it up. Obviously, as you can see on the screen there, I actually Airstreamed the Landorus by accident. I kind of knew this Landorus had Fly, because that's pretty much the only physical flying move that Lando gets. So I was like, well, he's got to be running Fly. And he probably almost invariably clicks it here, because he doesn't want to see any damage. We do actually see the Charizard switch out, which was interesting. We finally got to see the Mienshao. This was the other reason I wanted to Airstream into the Charizard slot, was because I could potentially pick up a free kill on a Mienshao switch in. But as you can see, it doesn't happen, and we do see the Lando click Fly. Not too surprised to see that. We actually get a passable amount of chip damage here. And then, of course, the Airstream misses because of the Fly, which was a pretty bad turn for us. This did not go as well as according to plan. We could have actually got a Mienshao kill here. So there's a lot of things that went wrong. Sacking off Torracat early was a mistake, and then that Airstream was a mistake. This was not particularly good play. As you can see, we do go for the Air Slash, because this is a kill on the Mienshao, unless it's like a Soul Vest, which I don't think it was. I'm debating on the double up into the Mienshao slot here, because a fake out is inevitably coming. This Mienshao hasn't done anything yet. So I was debating on, do I go Whimsicott instead? Obviously, I don't really want to break my Sash if I could avoid it, but at the same time, I didn't necessarily want too much damage on my Garchomp, because at this point, we know his Pokemon in the back. We know he has a low health Sableye and Charizard, so this is kind of his roll of the dice here. As you can see, he does fake out the Stealer, which kind of okay, I guess, but doesn't really do that much for him, other than just stops it from attacking. You can see this Fly does negligible damage after the Intimidate, and the Rough Skin actually does really good damage back. We do get this Dragon Claw off into that Mienshao slot, which I can see does a ton of damage, so this is very offensive Mienshao for sure at this point. But at this point we don't have a reason not to go for Air Slash again, because he doesn't really have a way to stop me, because he can't one-shot me. There's no move that on either of these Pokemon that can kill me at this point, so we can pretty much do whatever we want here. There's a lot of different ideas I was floating around with. I was debating on the Meteor Beam to get my special attack back. I was debating on Leech Seeding the Landorus. I think I actually ended up charging up Meteor Beam here, if I remember right. Or did I Air Slash Mienshao? I think I Air Slashed and doubled into the Mienshao, I think. Oh no, actually... Oh, that's an aggressive play. I don't know why I went for that. Why did I Rock Slide there? Was I scared of Charizard coming back in for some reason? Like, did I think this Lando was U-turning? I'm not sure, but we do actually see the Mienshao has Ally Switch, which is something I did actually talk about in my team builder, but I ended up... my team builder broke, so I couldn't show you guys that. But yeah, I kind of figured this was a play. But yeah. But we went for the Rock Slide here, which does actually pick up the kill. This was a crit, if I remember correct. I think that crit might have mattered. I may be wrong there. This is where if I charged up Meteor Beam, it actually would have been a really sick play, but obviously, hindsight being 2020, there's no way I could have made that play, to be honest. But we do see the Sableye come back out. This thing is, of course, too weak. We know there's a Charizard in the back. But at this point, the Lando is really doing nothing here. But I did opt to Leech Seed into it. This basically covers any stall. Again, I was debating on protecting here just in case of any shenanigans, because I was actually thinking he might actually have flew into the Garchomp with the Helping Hand, which I wasn't terribly sure if that would kill me. The range was pretty close, so it would have depended on rolls. So again, I was debating on switching out. As you can see, I was trying to figure out how many sand turns were left. As you can see, it was the last turn of sand, which is nice. I think I ended up Dragon Clawing the Sableye, knocking it out. I might have doubled into Lando, but I'm pretty sure I Dragon Clawed the Sableye here. So he does fake me out here, as you can see. Not too surprised to see that. But the fly comes in, does not kill me. If this was helping and boosted, it had a chance. But again, as you can see, it's a low roll. You do see the rough skin starting to tick on this Lando. And then we knock out the Sableye. Garchomp again, putting in work here. Garchomp actually did very, very well in this series in general. Garchomp, of course, pretty scary offensive mon, especially under Tailwind. So always something to bear in mind. But yeah, going into this now, we're in a pretty good spot. The Charizard can't really do anything because there's no Dynamax left, so he doesn't really have anything left here. At this point, I charged up the Meteor Beam just because I could, because there wasn't really too much reason not to. And then I Dragon Clawed the Charizard to guarantee the kill because I didn't want to risk the Rock Slide miss. We do actually see Earthquake come out here, which did kind of catch me a little off guard, but it's totally fine because we had lived it. And then we hit this Dragon Claw to pick up the kill on the Charizard, which of course puts us in a 3v1 situation, and Lando really cannot beat Stellar Stealer, so this was a pretty easy one for us. Not really a huge deal at all, and at this point I believe Saiyan actually forfeited, which was pretty sad, because I would have liked Stealer to have got another kill there, but yeah, it is what it is. Couldn't be helped. I think, did I switch out into Whimsicott here because I knew he couldn't kill me? I think that's what I did. Yeah, I saved the Garchomp here just in case he did try to Earthquake just to get some differential. Basically this just covered for that. I think he ended up flying anyway. Yeah, he flew here. Which was perfectly fine. I was more than happy with him flying here. This basically lost him the game anyway. Obviously, yes, he dodges the Meteor Beam, but the Meteor Beam was just there to get my special attack back. And then obviously, what goes up must come back down, which means I'm pretty much guaranteed to land a Leech Seed on him. Unless I, of course, unfortunately miss, and then I can just get a free Tailwind up. Because he can't kill my Whimsicott regardless, so no big deal at all. We get the Tailwind up, and as you can see, the fly comes in. Does not enough to even take me down to Sash because of the lack of damage output, and as you can see we get the Leech Seed off. I believe this is where Saiyan forfeited. Denied me another kill. I was gonna Fake Tears and Flash Cannon here to pick up the kill, but you know what, it's all good. It's perfectly all good. But yeah, it didn't really matter too much. This was obviously a win for us. I actually Charmed here. I should have Fake Tears. Yeah, I should have Fake Tears there. I don't quite know why I clicked Charm, but it's fine. He doesn't actually get to see the Charm here, which is nice. And then we move into Game 3. This is a very intense game. Game 3 was kind of where I was a bit unsure what I wanted to do. As you can see, I was initially thinking about a passive lead with the Torracat plus the Whimsicott, because he kept leading the same lead. And I was like, is there a way around this for me? But I didn't like this lead in the end. I'm not sure why I didn't like it. I think a lot of it was because I wanted some offensive pressure. And obviously, while Garchomp is phenomenal, I actually wanted to try not to get it intimidated, so it forces it out. So we actually put Garchomp in the back, and then of course Torracat in the back as well. This basically covers for just about everything except for Regieleki, so we have to be careful if that comes out. Because as you can see, we did not see it in the first two games. So this was something to bear in mind. So there was obviously a chance he could bring it, because I didn't show my Netric in Game 2, so... but we do see same lead. Not too surprised to see that. Same lead as always. But we switched up again. We actually led Stealer this time. And as you can see, I started having controller issues. So I had to do this turn while switching over to Joy-Cons, which was not a fun experience and not really a distraction you really want for Game 3. But it is what it is. So there'll be a little bit of a pause while we are getting my Joy-Cons out. But while this is going on, I actually feel pretty comfortable with this lead. I do expect him to obviously fake out the Whimsicott, just like he has done every single game. I was looking at like just fake out Max Airstream, just made the most sense. Obviously, with Steeler being out as well, this Lando is kind of a little bit weak. And at this point, it's like, well, I have no reason not to do the same play I did last time, which is just switching the Torcat. Because at this point, I can do largely whatever I want. I went for the Leech Seed. This was a little bit greedy. This was a tiny bit greedy here. But I didn't mind it too much, because there was always a chance that he U-turned out, which is kind of what I was thinking he might do, as a potential adaptation. But, of course, we are going to switch out. Made perfect sense. We are going to bring the Torcat back out, because there's no reason not to. Intimidating the Lando is always nice. Dropping that attack down, just putting its damage in check, is always a helpful strat. And as you can see, he fakes out again. Nothing too surprising to see this. And he does U-turn this time. This was his adaptation, which made sense. Obviously, taking the Intimidate off of the Lando is how you get its damage output back, because really after an Intimidate or any kind of burn, it is very, very mediocre in terms of its damage output. But here comes the Rizombie. Now, of course, we didn't see it the first two games, which was problematic, but we do actually get a Leash Seed off here, which is really, really nice for us. This, of course, is guaranteed chip damage. Now, originally I was like, is he going to max this? Because, like, he brought this in really, really aggressively. So I was debating on faking out here, because obviously I could fake out, but I ended up not going for it, and I just was like, well, if you really want to hit me, then you're going to have to hit me when I'm max, because obviously I'm policy, right? So being policy helps me out a lot here. I think I airstreamed there, which I think was a misplay. I should have rockfalled. But nonetheless, he did not max, because we maxed first. So this was a really interesting play on his part. I did wonder if he would just like Dynamax and then hit the Max Lightning into me. I don't know if he was scared of policy or not. Saiyan, if you're watching this, definitely let me know. Like, were you scared of policy or like a switch in? I don't know. It's always difficult to know. But we do see the helping hand here. Very unsurprising, of course. The only unsurprising thing was he didn't max, but we do see the helping hand Volt Switch, which with my investment in the defenses, we do actually live that. Which means that we actually get a parting shot on whatever comes in. So this actually worked out really, really well for us. We got to preserve our Torcat. And it's the Lando that came back in, which was a little surprising. Not gonna lie, because Lando, yes, it can Earthquake, but so be it. Like, dropping my Celesteela's attack does not matter. And of course, we do take off that attack once again. With the parting shot, we do preserve our Intimidate, which is nice. Nice, and we switch back out. And here I can basically just go into whatever I want. Either Whimsicott or Garchomp are both fine here. So I go for the Whimsicott, because, I mean, technically he could still max here, which is kind of what I was looking at. As a potential problem, but the Sableye can't fake me out, but I obviously rockfall here, which was not the best decision because it does break my Focus Sash, so maybe Airstream was actually the correct play instead of rockfalling here. Well, actually Steel Spike may not have been bad either, because obviously that would really make this Landorus useless, because it's -1 attack and then I have +1 defense. But at this point, just going for the Charm on the Landorus makes sense. Just really lower that attack, just make it completely useless. Or I could Fake Tears here. Fake Tears is a very aggressive play, of course, but if this comes off, this really does matter. So we do Fake Tears and Steel Spike here. If I get this play off, we do actually pick up the kill here. But if we get this wrong and he flies, then it obviously sucks. But we do see this Fake Tears come out. Which I don't think he saw Fake Tears in any of the previous games, so this was a new one. And he does Quash me, which I was a little surprised to see him go for this. But here was the play that won him the turn, which was the fly. This is kind of the issue with going into this. I could have still spiked the Sableye there, and it would have been a lot better. But nonetheless, didn't do it. I think I only went for it because I knew I would kill the Lando if I would get it. But here I have a free Tailwind, regardless, because nothing really stops me from that. And then, of course, with Garchomp in the back, under Tailwind, I basically outspeed everything. The other option is to just sack off Torcat, because at this point, Rizombie is special. We know this because we saw the Volt Switch. and the Charizard, which is likely to be in the back when you look at his team comp, is also special, so I debated on anything here, but I think the overall best play here is just to sack Torracat, get the extra Intimidate value, and then we go for the Airstream to give ourselves the extra speed. This definitely helps us out here. This is kind of definitely what we want. One thing to note here is that we have committed our max, which Saiyan has not yet, which may be suspicious that Charizard was in the back, because me and Xiao never really maxes. Regieleki could of course max, but he doesn't necessarily want to max here. We do see the Helping Hand, not a surprise. But obviously he expected the Helping Hand fly into the Whimsicott, but he just kills the Torracat instead. No biggie. That's perfectly fine with me, because that thing is -2 attack, not really doing anything, and we get a free Airstream off here. And we do pick up the kill, which is really, really nice. We get a speed boost on Celesteela, which is handy. We do still have our Whimsicott around to set up Tailwind, which is really nice as well. And of course we get an extra special attack boost from the Beast Boost, which is really, really powerful now. This Celesteela puts in a lot of work. It's already max HP, max special attack. At this point I have a choice. Either of these options is fine, but Whimsicott back out made the most sense, because once again this Sableye can't really fake me out, as the Regieleki comes back in. Now, this is where I think Saiyan misplayed for a little bit here. I think he overestimated like how much damage Regieleki was going to do to a non-max Steeler. Obviously, I am max HP, so he probably didn't factor that in, because most Steelers running this kind of set are offensive, so running max HP, max special attack was kind of probably a surprise to him. But here I can Tailwind. This was kind of like, am I faster? Or nah, under Tailwind at +1 speed, because I am actually like no speed investment at all on this Steeler. So yeah, a bit of an issue there. That was a misplay on my part, to be honest. You can see I'm kind of debating what I want to do, but after the Tailwind goes up, Flash Cannon does decent damage pretty much regardless here. But as you can see, he does quash me, which means that the Regieleki will always go before me. But here is where he went for Electro Web. I don't agree with this play. You can see how much that was doing. That's a max HP, and that did half. I think if he Volt Switched into my Steeler there, he probably would have killed me. But he didn't go for it. But he does proc my weakness policy, though, which means that I am now +3 special attack, which is pretty nuts. And this just shows you how powerful Steeler is when it's offensive. I just went up and killed a Regieleki with a resisted hit, and now we're +4 special attack, which is pretty gnarly, to be honest with you. And with Whimsicott next to it as well, we can definitely put in a lot of work here. We're in a pretty good spot to actually just go ahead and win here. We do see the Charizard come back out, which we knew at this point it was going to max, because Regieleki's dead. The Landorus is dead, so this is his only max option. Now this is where I got greedy. I went for the wrong play here. I think I went for this play on the off chance that I was going to be able to knock this thing out. Because I was a bit like, well, do I live the Wildfire? At this point I was debating on switching. I should have switched. I don't quite think staying in here was the correct play. And also I think just firing off a Moonblast would have been better from the Whimsicott slot. But we do go for this aggressive play. Obviously if this play comes off, we do actually pick up the kill here, so the option was there. Obviously that would rely on him misplaying here and actually wildfiring the Whimsicott, which is not the correct play. He should always wildfire into the Steeler slot here. So what I should have done was probably switch into Garchomp. But I was kind of thinking Garchomp was my win condition here with the Rock Slides, so I didn't really want Garchomp taking damage. So I think my decision here was, if he doesn't kill me, I kill him with the Fake Tears +4 Air Slash. But obviously he does quash me, which is the correct decision. And then of course this damage is nuts, because this is a Life Orb Charizard, which as you can see just straight up blows me up. Which was a bad decision on my end to stay in and think that I would get away with this. So Steeler goes down. This is where having Protect would have been interesting, but I don't think it would have mattered. All it would have meant was I had another chance for another fake tears, but it wouldn't have mattered because of Quash. But we go back into Garchomp, and we do have a chance to win this match, but I made one critical error, which is what lost me the game. But we're in an okay spot here. At this point we actually do figure out the Sableye item. We haven't seen it. We have 2 turns of Tailwind left. So we did have a chance to pull this off. It was still doable. I think hindsight here, I could have Moonblasted into Charizard instead of the Sableye here. Maybe get a special attack drop, maybe that would have mattered, but again, that's like 10% chance, I think, or 20% chance for a special attack drop, so it's not guaranteed. But here is like, if I hit the Rock Slide, I think I just do so much damage here. Which puts me in a good range. And then, of course, I forgot about this. I forgot about the Sunny Day from Game 1, which was the costly error on my part, because, of course, now this buffs up the Charizard even more, because now it activates his Solar Power. Here, I think if I Moonblasted into Charizard, I had a chance of winning this, because the extra chip damage would have been kind of important, but as you can see, I went greedy. I went for the Sableye that had the Roselli Berry, which, of course, meant that the Sableye lived. Honestly, if he didn't have Roselli Berry, we would have won that. But as you can see, he does knock out the Whimsicott, which is the correct play. Because now his Zard is faster than my Garchomp, which is a bind. Not really something you want to see, but it is what it is. But you can see he's really, really worn down. The Solar Power is kind of a problem for Charizard. But yeah, I think this is where I messed it up. I had 1 turn of Tailwind left, and I immediately went for Protect. Here, I think I could have potentially lived an Airstream from this. I do want to look at the damage again, because I'm not entirely convinced I would have lived this. I did want to look at this back, because I wasn't sure if I would go ahead and win this one. But we shall see. Yeah, I think I should have just gone for Rock Slide here. I think this was where I lost it. We are gonna check this. He did take a lot of time on this play, which is understandable. I think he was debating on whether he Quashes me or does he Helping Hand. Did like the Helping Hand Wildfire kill me? I think that's probably what he was debating, and if I was him, that's probably what I would debate. Although Helping Hand Max Airstream almost inevitably kills me, I think. Especially under Life Orb Solar Power. But I do end up Protecting here, which I think was the play that lost me the game. For sure. This was not the decision, as he does actually Quash me here, so I actually think I live the Airstream. Let's check. 153 down to 90. No, I don't live it. Okay, so I actually lost anyway. So this does not matter. He beat me anyway. Because there was no guarantee he would have killed. I would have lived that Airstream. So yeah, that was a thing. Obviously, kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. If I actually got this play, if I got lucky here, I could have won. But there is one final potential nuance here. Obviously, I do click Rock Slide because I do actually kill both. This was a little bit. I'm not sure if this was BM or just didn't realize the accuracy, but he went for Air Slash here, which is only 90% accurate. If he missed this and I clicked Rock Slide and hit both, I actually win this game. So I'm not quite sure why he opted to go for the Air Slash there. I don't think he really had a reason to go for that. You just go for the Fire move. It would have killed me anyway. But yeah, it is what it is, of course. But either way, Saiyan does come out with a very narrow win, which I'm very happy with, to be honest, considering I was ill. So I will take this all day. Hopefully I can fix my audio issues. Hopefully everything is fine for next week. I do apologize for all the problems. Hopefully my webcam will be back, but I hope you guys enjoyed either way. Hey, of course, next week we are going to play Rotten Tomato 005, which I'm really excited for. Rotten and I always have amazing matches, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But as always, thank you guys for watching. My name is Rizombie Teacher. I'm your coach of the Royal Bournemouth Rizombies. Stay safe. Stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. And if you liked the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so that you never miss an upload. We upload every single day on this channel. Make sure you're following me on all of my social medias on the screen right now. And a huge shout out to the shiny Rizombies of this month: Araya Jade, The Crazed Artist, Mr. Burns 1988, and Average Gaming 017. Thank you all for your continued support.